It's Wednesday, May 31st, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Mantle. We have a great show in store for you today. First up, we're going to get an update on the FY18 budget with Finance Director Mark Milne. Then we'll find out more about proposed projects on Route 132 with Economic Development Specialist Mike Travato. And finally, we'll chat with Director of Regulatory Services Richard Scally. All of that on this episode of Barnstable Today. But first, let's go ahead and get a look at today's top headlines. Town Council will continue work on the proposed operating budget for FY18 this week. The Council will also vote on the acceptance of 2 grants for the Barnstable Police Department. The first grant for $2,500 would be used to promote bicycle safety, and the second grant for just under $5,000 would fund underage alcohol compliance efforts. Town Council meets this Thursday night in the Town Hall hearing room at 7. Well, Eversource is warning customers of a recurring scam. The scam involves callers telling Eversource customers that their power will be shut off if they don't pay a specific sum of money using a prepaid debit card. The scammers often target local businesses. Eversource is reminding residents and business owners that they never ask for customers to use prepaid debit cards to pay their bills. If you receive a call like this one, Eversource recommends simply hanging up. Tales of Cape Cod will honor Hyannis resident Dolores DeLuz next week. DeLuz will be presented with the Mercy Otis Warren Cape Cod Woman of the Year Award. DeLuz is a founding member of the Zion Union Heritage Museum, a founding member and past officer of the Cape Cod NAACP, and a very early supporter of the Council of Churches and an advocate for so many in her community. DeLuz will be presented the Cape Cod Woman of the Year Award during a ceremony Monday, June 5th at Tales of Cape Cod at 8 p.m. Congratulations, Dolores. Residents and visitors can learn more about Barnstable during some fun and interactive talks and activities this summer. The talks will be held at the Bismore Park Visitor Center at the Hyannis Harbor. Programs include presentations from local libraries, demonstrations and activities with the Recreation Division, wildlife talks and interactions, and so much more. The programs will be held Mondays at 10:30 a.m. and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. throughout the summer. Programs are free to attend. You can get a detailed list of activities and dates by visiting artsbarnstable.com. Up next, we'll chat with Finance Director Mark Milne. Quick change of plans this morning. We're actually going to chat with Mike Travato first. Enjoy that interview. So Mike, thanks for dropping by today. Very excited to talk about some developments that are happening in Hyannis. Let's talk a little bit about some projects on 132 in Hyannis. The Cape Cod 5 is looking to expand an office that they have there near where Ethan Allen used to be.
Yes, the former Ethan Allen Gallery property in Mid-Cape Home Center. The Cape Cod 5 is going to be tearing those buildings down and building a whole new facility over at that location. It's going to be a 78,000 square foot office building. It's actually going to include a 3-story garage, which I believe is the first of its kind on Cape Cod, as well as do site improvements to the area.
Wow. Did you say 3-story like a parking garage?
Yes, it'll be 3-story parking garage, but because of the contours of the property, it's from the street level that you look at it from 132, it's only going to look like a 1-story garage, so it's going to be built downward into the slope of the back of the property.
Wow.
So that's going to take up 1/3 of the square footage that a typical parking area needs would fulfill square footage wise by going 3 stories. So this can accommodate 240 parking spaces in the space of what would typically be a third of what would normally take.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the approval process for a facility like this. They have to go through a lot of boards, committees, and commissions, and even the Cape Cod Commission is reviewing the project, I think. So talk to me about the permitting process for a project like this.
Well, a project like this, because it's more than 10,000 square feet, is subject to a Cape Cod Commission DRI review. And so they are now at the Cape Cod Commission with that process. They go through the normal permitting process through the town as well, site plan review and all the other boards and commissions that they need to go through, and then it goes to the Cape Cod Commission. The commission has the ability to approve or not approve this project of this size. This project has got a lot of good things going for it, though, so I think it's going to be favorably looked at for the most part. I can't speak for the commission itself, but because of all of the amenities that they're putting into it, they're actually going to be changing from a septic system, Title V septic system, to a town sewer. Which is a big improvement for that area. They're actually going to be building a pumping station over there that they're then going to turn over to the town, so the town can actually utilize that pumping station for other properties up and down that sector, which
so that's a benefit
will be
to
a huge benefit to
the town as well as even residents.
Right, exactly. So and a lot of the other site amenity improvements, it's going to improve its stormwater runoff. It's going to improve its put underground utilities into the property. It's going to be energy efficient. They're going to be doing solar power. They're going to be environmentally friendly. They're actually going to be trying to build this to be LEED certified as well. And they're also going to improve the curb cuts on the street as well.
Wonderful. So that sounds like kind of a win-win for everybody. And like you said, interesting that it goes through the town approval process before it then goes on to the Cape Cod Commission. Is there a reason that it's set up that way?
Well, it needs to meet all the town zoning and regulations first and foremost. And this one is by right approved with the town. Doesn't need any kind of zoning variance for this because it is zoned for that purpose already. So it doesn't need that kind of a change. And it's already been vetted through all the other site needs for assessment by the town.
Now, I know you don't have a crystal ball on you, but do you know how long the Cape Cod Commission can take to review this plan?
Yeah, that's hard to say. That's sort of out of our hands at that point. Right now, it's at a subcommittee level, and we hope that it will be expedited because it's meeting all of these great needs, and the site is going to be dramatically improved and certainly fitting all of the wants and needs of the regulatory process. So don't have a timeline on this. I would hate to even venture a guess what this. I know the project they would love to be constructing in 2018 and be occupying certainly as soon as they're able to complete the facility.
Wonderful. And then let's talk about another project too. A new office park is being proposed. Where is this located?
Sure. This is the Greenside Office Park. This is being proposed at the site of what is now Sun Transportation property. If you go up 132 and I'm sorry, I'm blanking at the street name.
It happens to me all the time.
Up off 132, you'll see all the trucks and trailers now at the Sun Transportation property. That location will be changed over to more user-friendly office park. A 25,000 square foot office space is what's being proposed. It's going to be flexible office space. Obviously the use will be less intensified, going from a trucking depot to an environmentally friendly office building itself. Driveways also will be turned into right turn in, right turn only, be better stormwater management at that facility as well. And that site will also be hooked up into town sewer as well, converted from Title V septic as well. So another major upgrade from that standpoint. And then the architecture itself is going to be traditional architecture.
Where are we on the permitting portion of this project?
This is about to go in front of the commission. There's actually a hearing on June 9th for that as well. So that one is kind of paralleling the other project as well.
That's a key part of Barnstable too. When you're, it's sort of like the gateway to Barnstable, gateway to Hyannis coming in town. These improvements sound like they'd really make a great improvement to the area and be better, maybe a little better to look at too when you're driving down 132.
Sure. Obviously, this is the gateway into Hyannis, and these properties aren't too far off of Route 6. The state has already done its thing through MassDOT to improve the amenities along that corridor of 132. That area we're now referring to as the financial district because it's really been organically growing into this particular sector, the financial services, the banking sector. Very interested in this area because it is easy access area, on and off, high visible at the same time, and you're seeing more and more smart development happening up on that corridor, and these are really good paying jobs, high quality office jobs, and we're very happy to see it. The Cape Cod 5 project, they will be moving 178 employees into that particular building when that's completed, and the potential for up to another 90 jobs as well. So you can see that there's a huge economic benefit to these particular projects coming into town.
Always like to hear that job creation, right?
Exactly.
Very
exactly.
exciting and meaningful for the town. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mike, for dropping by, talking about these projects. I look forward to checking in with you and seeing how these go through the approval process at the Cape Cod Commission.
Great. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for having me.
My guest today, Mike Travato. He is the Economic Development Specialist here in the town of Barnstable. Joining me now live on the phone, we have Finance Director Mark Milne. Mark, Town Council meeting again this week, hopefully to finish up that budget.
Yes, we got about halfway through the budget at their last meeting, and we will continue with the operating budget this Thursday evening, starting with our Regulatory Services Department and Building Services Departments, and then we'll move right into Public Works, including their general fund operation and the 3 enterprise funds that they have.
I realize you do not have a crystal ball on you, but things went so smoothly and so quickly last town council meeting. Do you have hope that the budget will be complete this week?
I think we will finish this week. There's about a dozen items left to complete. We also have some community preservation, the annual operating budget for the Community Preservation Fund with the minimum set-asides for that program. And so when I look at the agenda, it's not that overwhelming. Where we might get bogged down is if there is a lot of Q&A on a particular department's operating budget, but based upon past year's experiences and the communication that's done out of the town manager's office with the council throughout this process, I think we should be able to get through it.
Yeah, very exciting. I know many department heads are available for questions. Lots of staff stay on to make sure they answer questions. Can be make for some really long nights. So thank you so much for all the work you do, and of course staff being there. Let's talk a little bit about the process, because there is a public hearing aspect to this. So if people want to attend, they want to share their thoughts about the budget, they can do that at this town council meeting.
Yes, they can. We do provide summary budget documents as well as some presentations that we've made on the operating budget. All of the information has been provided onto the town's website. Of course, we also have that open budget website, which provides interested citizens, multiple year history on both the operating and capital programs. Looking at that information may raise questions for citizens who may come to those public hearings when we open them up Thursday evening to discuss any particular issues that they may want to present to the council to consider when they're deliberating the operating budget appropriations. So, we do provide an opportunity for the community through multiple channels to understand how the operating budget works and to ask questions.
Yeah, and you're right. Those resources on the town's website are really fantastic. Went through the budget myself. It's very detailed. You can kind of pick and choose what you want to click on, so you can actually see the entire budget as it's proposed on the town's website, which is great, I think, for residents.
Yeah, and we breaks it right on down to the line items. Some departments, like Public Works, they have dozens of individual line item expenditures. We don't appropriate at the line item level. We appropriate at the department level, so that gives Public Works and every other department flexibility within the department's total budget to as to how to expend the budget. But generally, they pretty much stick to those line items year to year, which is why we have a line item budget so that they can monitor their programs and their spending by program area closely, and to assess whether or not certain program areas are draining more resources than others, and if they need to reallocate line items, they can do so.
Well, that's got to be very helpful for department heads. I want to talk to you too. This has been a very busy budget season for you. You guys actually presented to Town Council earlier than expected. Things have been going well. What happens once this budget is complete, once everything's finalized? How quickly do you turn around and start working on the next year's budget?
We'll start immediately in the summer. We do want to take a look at we'll immediately take a look at how we closed out the current fiscal year when it ends June 30th to assess any particular areas that we may have concerns with going forward. We'll immediately start into our 10-year forecasting exercise by taking a look at how revenues performed in fiscal year 17 compared to previous years, and try to project out what they're going to look like over the next 10 years. So we'll start that 10-year forecast process immediately. We'll evaluate the FY17 operating budget, and we'll start developing criteria that we're going to use to include in the instructions to all of our department heads for the FY19 budget process that will start in the early fall when we issue those instructions, and we'll be implementing the FY18 budget as we speak, because people have to start with the brand new fiscal year come July 1st. So we'll have multiple fiscal years that we'll be dealing with, as well as having the auditors in. They're in this week to start preliminary field work, and they'll be here in the fall as well. So it's a very busy time of year between now and the fall for the finance operation.
I bet. It sounds like it. Well, thank you for joining us this morning and sort of explaining the process to us and giving us an update. We really appreciate it.
Okay, Sarah.
All right, talk to you soon.
Yep, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. My guest today, Finance Director Mark Milne. The Bismore Park Visitor Center is open for the season. We're going to learn more about that with Director of Regulatory Services, Richard Scally. So, Richard, really great to catch up with you today. I want to talk to you about a couple things. Recently, it's almost summertime. I can't even believe it, but we're here at the end of May.
Yes.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the Bismore Welcome Center. That's open and running. How many seasons has that been open?
Well, the Welcome Center has been open for quite a while. However, it was run primarily by a different entity. The Live Love Local people had been running it for a number of years. Last year, the Arts and Cultural and Community Services and Parking took over the Welcome Center. So this year is really our full service center that we're operating under this year, with our Gateway Greeters that are running it as well. There are a number of additions to the center with additional brochures and lectures, and there's also, with regards to exhibits that are going to be put there as well. We've added some games, hacky sack outside. We've added some new another new picnic table that'll be coming soon. So we're really looking to be a kind of a full-service center, with the assistance, obviously, of other departments as well. We're just one piece of the pie.
Well, it's a really great location, really, Richard, if you think about it, with so many visitors getting off the ferry, being at the harbor for maybe they're jumping into the pirate boat, who knows. Maybe they're taking a fishing excursion. It is a hub of activity for lots of visitors and a great place really right next to the High Arts Shanties. Such a great community feel there at Bismore Park, and a great spot, I think, for residents to ask for help and to ask for information about the area. So really a benefit to a lot of different places. And of course, if they have any questions about parking, that can be answered there too. So a great resource, really.
Yes, we definitely make sure that the Gateway Greeters are informed about things that are going on in the town. We've got a very huge booklet of information that people have a question about, maps or where to get somewhere or how to get to downtown or a museum. All that's in there. And then we're very proud of our lecture series this year too, which we have once or twice a month for kids and adults having to do with coastal questions and wildlife, and the library's doing a series as well. So it's going to be very interesting for people to want to come and get information there, and then venture out into the town as well once they get off the ferry.
I know it wasn't too many seasons ago that you started the parking meters where people can actually pay to park using an app. They can pay. How is that system working out? How are visitors responding?
It is much easier for people. The app is working. Obviously, you can extend your parking from if you have the app on your phone from wherever you may be. We are obviously enforcing the parking limitations that are down there at 6 hours, so that people are not parking there long term. We want to encourage them to park off-site or across the street for long-term parking. But the system's working very well. The machines are up and running, and we're very happy with it.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Hopefully, you and the department has a wonderful summer filled with adventure. Really, I can't wait to see some of the programs that you're putting on down at Bismarck Park. I think visitors are going to really find that interesting.
Yep, they're very good. They've got a whole list of that are coming out that are with regards to the golf pro that we're speaking, a wildlife ranger that we're speaking, a turtle ranger talk that they have as well. So it's going to be very interesting even for the kids and the adults.
That's right. And I want to talk to you, too, about another topic before I let you go. The Gunworks range, they are currently opened. They didn't open too long ago, but the town, actually, they're currently operating on some kind of temporary regulations. You guys are actually working on some long-term regulations for the gun range. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, as you know, the gun range, which used to be the another facility there that was there with the balls to the walls that has closed down. It's now become a gun range. They do have members only. They do have outside people that can come in and partake of the facilities as well. Right now they have a permit that the commissioners have granted them for a gun range with a number of conditions, primarily to do with safety and background checks and surveillance and cameras. So it is operational. The commissioners are now reviewing, having looked at other towns' regulations, looking at a more permanent set of regulations, which we're putting together and will present to the licensing board on, I think it's June 12th, so that anybody from this point forward, or even the current gun range coming in, would have to adhere to those regulations as well.
Yeah, interesting. Definitely good to have those on the books. Anything else you want to chat about today?
We are just looking at the summer season coming forward. We've got a number of new restaurants that have opened, which we're very excited about. The new Bamboo restaurant, the old Schooners has become a new bistro on Main Street as well. So I think we're seeing a lot of changes that are coming about for the summer, and it's going to be, as you could tell by all the traffic that there was yesterday, a lot of people coming down to the Cape. So
yeah, love seeing the traffic, even though it can slow us down a little bit, but love seeing all the people out there. Love seeing the increase in traffic. It just means summer's around the corner. Can't wait.
Definitely.
All right, thank you so much, Richard.
All
we
right.
really appreciate it.
Take care.
Of course, my guest today, Director of Regulatory Services, Richard Scally. Now let's find out what's happening around town in today's community calendar. The Sturgis Library will host a Barnstable Village photo walk in June. Cape Cod Times photographer Steve Heslip will lead the walk. The walk will be held Sunday, June 11th at 4 p.m. Registration for the event is required. You can call the Sturgis Library to sign up. A concert will help raise money for music education on Cape Cod and pay tribute to one of the greats. The tribute to Lou Colombo will raise money for the Lou Colombo Music Fund. That fund has helped support music departments at various schools across Cape Cod. You can hear the Roadhouse Jazz Band, Grace Sargent, Marshall Wood, Donna Byrne, and others during the show. The tribute to Lou Colombo will be held Tuesday, June 13th at the Barnstable High School Performing Arts Center. Doors open at 6. Tickets are just $10. We're going to learn more about that concert during this Friday's Arts and Culture segment. Well, Town Council meets this Thursday night at 7 in the Town Hall hearing room. That's pretty much the only meeting for the remainder of the week. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to be back tomorrow with another great show for you. On tomorrow's show, we're going to chat with Town Manager Mark Ells. We'll check in with State Representative Will Crocker, and we'll find out what's on Town Council's agenda with Town Council President Eric Steinhelber. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.